Someone wrote in about we had some videos about incel and people that are involuntarily
Yep.
celibate, and someone
That's
wrote,
what incel stands for.
yes, and someone wrote in and said that most people think I'm creepy because my looks are not matched up to their perceived attraction level, and that he believes that people see someone who's not attractive as creepy. And I wanted to deconstruct that a little bit because I think they're very different things. This is Reid Mahalko from readaboutsex.com.
Cathy Vartuli from the intimacydojo.com. I'm going interior here because this is good. This is rich, dense stuff.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So I think that it's easy for us to associate people that are not physically, don't cookie cutter match what society says is pretty, with creepiness, because often those are overlapped with shame. People that are bigger or short, like men that are shorter, some of us, like if we're not matching what society says is ideally handsome, we maybe have shamed a lot, or we may have experiences that leave us with shame. And that can leave us approaching someone with shame and uncomfortableness can create a sense of like people don't know why we're approaching them. There's an unease there. Versus people that have cleared shame or have never had that shame. It doesn't matter if they what they look like. They're not coming across as creepy or uncomfortable. And I've met plenty of very conventionally handsome people that were very creepy. So to me, their looks and creepiness are separate things.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about the easiest way or the most powerful way to reframe this or to think about it. What is the trickiest is somebody who has a lot of cultural reinforcement that something's wrong with them, who's also shy and maybe introverted. Because the things that are easiest, I think, to do when you think about how to make other people feel comfortable, that advice is really useful and easiest to adapt from people who are extroverted.
Yes.
Because it requires a certain amount of me taking my agency, being empowered to take action in a way where I'm deconstructing really quickly for the other person that I know what's going on. When you are self-aware and you can prove your self-awareness to people in a way that's not pressury, that seems to land on many people as not creepy. And that is a very, what I just said took me 40 years to start to master. Being the weird, goofy, big white guy hanging out with a bunch of people, activists, who do not like white guys. And what I do basically is like, hi, I'm Reid. You probably don't like white guys. Probably, especially extroverted white guys. I'm that guy. And I'm up to date on most of the current ideas around feminism, intersectional, geekery, and oppressive, systematic, and social dynamics. May I talk to you? And that I've laid out, that I've spoken to what is the landscape and done it in a way where I'm not pulling, please talk to me, please talk, like I'm controlling my energy, but I'm stating it's not really the obvious, because sometimes the obvious is what culture tells us, and really what's obvious is that what culture tells us is bullshit.
Yeah.
But I am declaring who I am and what my intentions are in a polite way, and asking for consent to proceed. That's a lot easier for extroverted, non-shy people to do, and it also helps if you're not starving.
Yeah.
And it also helps if You haven't had life just kick the shit out of you,
Yeah.
so that your anxiety level, not anxiety is not the right word, but like your nervous system is just electrified when you're trying to break the ice with somebody. So again, like there's a lot of privilege that I have, but the advice or the technique, the approach, I think is useful. It's just how do we get people to that?
Yeah, I think for me, as a shy person, it's easier to come across creepy sometimes, because if we think we don't deserve something, there's two ways that I really see people being creepy with me. Is one, they either come up and say, I'm going to ask you something and I'm putting all the responsibility for my well-being on you. Mm-hmm. And if you say no, you're going to destroy me and it's your fault.
Yeah.
And I agree to that. That feels icky to me. That feels like...
Well, and I would say that might not be creepy, but it doesn't create ease for the person, right? Like
I feel like there's a pulling, like they're trying to get something from me that I did not agree to.
Yeah.
So to me, that I don't define that as creepy.
Okay.
And the other thing is, if someone's trying to get something from me without disclosing, they're trying to get something they don't deserve.
There's a sneaky agenda.
Yeah. And unfortunately, if we feel ashamed, like if I want to ask somebody out and I don't feel like I deserve it, mm-hmm. if I don't feel like I deserve to have that person go out with me, I'm in my brain, I'm thinking I'm trying to sneak by the fact that he'd never go out with me. And then that comes across sometimes as creepy, even though we're just really shy.
Sure. Yeah, the hesitancy can feel weird. Like rather than creepy, let's just say weird. Like, but because there's like awkward, like, oh, that was awkward, and then there's like, this is weird awkward,
yeah.
Right? So again, like if you imagine, also like flip the video. All this is going on for everybody else,
too.
too.
The other people are receiving it, too.
We think everyone's got their shit handled.
They look like it from the outside.
The rest of the world is just, everyone's rico suave, and yeah, the world's easy. And the handsome extroverted people, yeah, they don't have a care in the world.
Everybody does.
Everybody's freaking out in their own head.
Yeah. But what I do, and I learned this from you actually, is because I know I can come off hesitant because I am shy, I will actually start with it. I'll say, hey, I'm really shy. It's hard for me to talk to you. And then it just normalizes it. Yeah. They have a context. They know I'm not trying to manipulate. I'm owning who I am. And I'm willing to take care of who I am. It's not your responsibility because I'm shy. I'm just owning it so you have a context.
I have done... Yep.
Yeah, I thought I scratched you. Sorry.
Oh. I have done in situations... Because, again, like, I didn't always look like this growing up, and I have a lot of insecurities from having an alcoholic mom and a father that lied about stuff. So I don't think I deserve a lot of things. And then when, like, I'm interested in somebody who's I think is too pretty for me, I just learned to lead with, again, extrovert, a little bit easier sometimes, is to be like, hi, I want to hit on you or ask you out on a date, but honestly, I think you're too pretty for me to do that. Like I'm in my 5th grader weirdness, but I want to try anyway. May I ask you out for coffee? Yes or no? And again, like for people, they're just like, what? And then I just literally repeat exactly what I said. Because as I'm doing it, the other piece that's interesting, right? And the reason we talked about like admit that you're shy, mm-hmm. When you admit the thing that you're afraid of, it takes so much of its power away. Like you're freer.
It was terrifying the first few times I did it, and then the process was so, I built such good connections with people, and some people were just like whatever, but I survived, and it was like, wow, I'm owning who I am. It felt really good, so it started getting easy.
And the people who are like whatever,
I don't want to hang out with them anyway.
You couldn't have snuck by them anyway with some weird under the rug agenda anyway. And ultimately, you want people who like you for you.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're like, oh, and then word gets out. Like other shy people go to Cathy and like, you admit that you're shy? And Cathy's like, yeah. And they're like, oh my God, that's so inspiring. And now you're inspiring to people, which is the opposite of you can be inspiring and shy, but like inspiring people helps build you up rather than you shrinking.
Yeah.
Again, this is advice from an extroverted golden retriever on espresso. but the approach, when you can find your words and speak up, try to start there.
Yeah, and I think it's important not to blame other people responding to us as being creepy on how we might look. There are certainly some people that are like, you don't deserve to talk to me because you're not like Rico Suave. I don't want to go out with people like that anyway, because we're all changing and growing. But for most people, it's more our energy around how we're approaching them. And if we've been rejected a bunch of times, there can be kind of like either a defensiveness or like, you owe me. The last 5 people said no. Cleaning that up can make a big difference.
Even having the self-awareness that you notice your own body language, and you're like, oh wow, I'm gonna adopt a body language that's a little bit more open. Again, I'm not gonna advocate like being masters at reading body language, because I'm always gonna be about words and consent
and authenticity. But
your self-awareness in how you're being is the foot in the door to the rest of it. Again, you know, if you're somebody in this situation who feels like they're unconventionally, you know, like you just don't look conventionally pretty, I will make that mean, you know, shorten it to be like, you think you're ugly, right? Like you're elephant man hideous. If you want to meet people and make them feel, you know, more relaxed, generally I would lead with, oh, hi, you know, just, you know, like, I'm aware that I look like this, and then people relax. Like my friends, this works in many different situations. Like I've had situations where I had to talk to somebody, and I just cut my forehead, and I'm bleeding down my face, but I needed to talk to this person. It's a long story, and I just led with, "Hi, just so you know, I'm aware that I'm bleeding down my face right now. We're fine. I'm fine, but I needed to ask you something," and they like totally changed. Yep. Whereas if I ignored it,
they're like, does he know?
They were like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So long video, we apologize. Leave some comments, what's useful, what's not useful. These are baby steps into maybe feeling more empowered in the world.
Yeah, and just what Reid said about acknowledging that you're not pretty or that you whatever, that can actually be really relaxing. I often will drop into a conversation early on, friends, coworkers, whatever, that I know I'm a big person, changes the energy completely. We're not all trying to pretend something different.
Yeah, and culture is filling us with bullshit advice.
Yeah.
So, and I guess we're part of culture now, so maybe we're full of it too.
Hopefully
But
not.
What makes you feel more empowered and also helps uplift other people?
Yep.
Let's walk in that direction.
Yep. Thanks very much. Leave comments below.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to subscribe to my social media, it's right there. And please subscribe to this channel there. If you'd like to see more goofy Reid and Cathy, there's more videos there.
See that? Why are they